welcome on stage now Yanna-Torry. Hello.
Hi,
Always
how
nice
are
to
you?
see you.
It's nice to
We
see you.
are
It's
good,
been a
thank
while.
you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, what is she going to talk about
I
today?
don't know.
Can't
But
possibly be the same thing.
yeah, our next speaker, Yanna-Torry, probably I can say that queen of deliverability.
Thank you.
She will talk about the hidden signals shaping email deliverability today, because it's going like more and more complex. As I don't remember, it was Jay or it was Fernando who said that it was simple. In your email text was like free
In the subject line, yeah.
Viagra or something. It went like spam, and you know it.
But now you don't know
Yeah.
what might happen if you do something and nobody knows.
Exactly.
So maybe you can enlighten us a little bit.
Sure, definitely. I'm like very ready to talk about deliverability, so I'm gonna have to slow down and make sure I don't talk as quickly as I usually do.
Good luck.
Thank you. And good luck to everyone listening. So very easy. Today we'll be talking about some of the weird stuff that can happen when it comes to deliverability. All everybody needs to know when it's starting with it is, of course, you need to be sending emails to people who want them. It's going to make the spam filters happy. You need to make sure that you're sending content people actually want and that you have good infrastructure so that everything is set up correctly. But after that, that's where a lot of the questions come in, because a lot of businesses who do the same thing might end up one in the inbox and the other one might end up in spam. So I've been working in deliverability for over a decade and recently have been focused on growing Review My Emails and a huge library of documents pertaining to emails. So if you guys ever have any questions about anything weird, feel free to go check the email almanac. But today we're going to try and go over the things that we don't usually talk about in the marketing products, right? So when MailChimp or anyone is sending out emails, they're not going to come and tell you all the difficult things. They're going to start telling you about all the cool things you can do, like automations and beautiful templates and saving your contacts very well and maintaining it. So we want to talk about other things that they're not necessarily going to want to use to sell their tools because it's not as interesting and makes it sound very complicated. Then we're going to go over as well what mailboxes expect from you, because at the end of the day, deliverability is not only making people happy, but making the machines who are deciding who's going to see the emails happy. And of course, ensuring that everything is set up correctly. And on that end, if you're using tools like Smaley, of course, you don't have to worry about a lot of things because they take care of the heavy lifting. So what are the issues we talked about this week actually with Tanel was the link problem. A lot of people have been complaining that they've been putting links in their emails that just magically make it go to spam, even though everything else is perfect. You have low spam rates, you have great sender reputation, you're sending emails to people who want them, you're making money from your email. Why is adding a tracking link such a big issue? So recently people have been complaining that using the YouTube reshare link, so their tracking link that's shorter, has been creating issues for them. So as a sender, what do we do? How do we come up with a list of all the URLs we should or should not be using? So unfortunately, there isn't a place where you can go get all the links. It would kind of make the security systems moot. If we know what not to do, then what's the point of security? The easiest way is, of course, to start sending emails to family and friends. We all should have a seed list. It can be employees in the company, but we always like to have inboxes, the personal inboxes maybe, so that we can shoot out some shoot out some emails and make sure that everybody's receiving them, and to see maybe somebody's Hotmail is having issues, or there's a pop-up in the Google account that says, hey, the sender seems to be a bit malicious, to just give an idea of what's going on there. If not, there are paid tools you can use like Email Console or Glock apps for inbox placement tests. But even then, we need to understand that these issues are either based on something technical that the inboxes are going to fix, or it's based on something that's currently happening in the world. So the example I always use is during COVID, like when they started pushing out the vaccines and all the rules, a lot of the brands decided to change what they usually email and be a little bit more comforting. We hope everybody's okay. We hope everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing. And that created issues because at the same time, there were COVID-related scams. So whenever all the brands started mimicking and being nice and helpful, well, the inboxes didn't know what to do. One, the sender had changed what they were doing, and two, there was a current problem affecting the world in terms of scams and so on. So we know that people who are not very good senders are using tracking links or smaller links, or they're trying to use Bitly, anything that might hide as much as possible from some of the checks. So no, unfortunately, we don't have a list of all the URLs that are going to make your emails go to spam, but there are tools that can help you make a decision. And there are certain things you can do to ensure that you're aware. Other than following Smaily and all us email geeks, we will share this information as well. But don't worry, this is not necessarily a deliverability issue that affects your reputation. It's a deliverability issue that just affects the deliverability of that email itself. Don't have to worry too much about it, but just be careful. Try to use full URLs, not too long, not too much UTM links going on, just to make sure that it looks okay to the machines. So the reason why these hurt, and that's what helps us understand how to stay away from them, is that anything that's like a Bitly or a tracking link that comes from another website, those are shared with their reputation. So if I'm using those links and I'm doing good things with them, and somebody's using them and doing bad things with them, well, then everybody's going to have a distrust of the link itself. The reason why we're using tracking links, other than to track opens and clicks, which aren't the issue in this case, is we're trying to hide, or the scammers are trying to hide where the person's going to end up. That's why sometimes you'll have like a couple of redirects, because some inboxes don't go check all the way to the end. Then, of course, the links are being used for phishing, and we're trying to pretend to be PayPal or anybody important. And then, of course, there's just a technical issue of like your email marketing tool adding a tracking link, and then you're adding another one after it, which might go somewhere else, and it just doesn't look good. So just be logical about it and try to keep the links in your email as much as possible to domains that you trust, like yours, and which seems a little bit weird coming with the example earlier of YouTube. YouTube is a link you should trust, but of course, it's an issue recently. Then the last reason why you should be checking the links in your emails is who's tracking the reputation of these links. So if your ESP has issues, it might affect you and your emails landing in the inbox. This is not a call to tell people to not use their opens or the any kind of tracking for their email marketing statistics. There's two different reasons why certain links are affecting you, and the ones from your, from Smaily, for example, will not. The inboxes know that you've been using, for example, a tool like Smaily to send out your emails. You have good reputation. You're sending everything's correct. Nothing has changed. It's expected to see some tracking links. But if you can use your own domain. Some tools will allow you to do that. But if the inboxes are expecting you to send a newsletter with opens and clicks, you don't have to worry that that in itself is the issue. If there's an issue, the email marketing providers will go and fix it to make sure that anything happening residually from a bad customer won't affect the rest of the customers, right? But again, this is not something you have complete control over, so it's just important to keep an eye out and be aware. Then the second thing that we also don't have control in is what happens when the inboxes themselves have issues. Recently, we all know that Google was down for a weekend, especially for the inboxes that were using their own domain, so the G Suite clients. Emails were going really at the wrong place. Bad emails are going to the inbox emails are going to spam. It was just a mess. They fixed it over the weekend and it was fixed again. Unfortunately, there was nothing we could have done other than be aware. There are places you guys can go to sign up to get the notifications directly if Gmail, G Suite, Microsoft Office, whatever is down, so that you're aware. And if you were going to send a campaign, maybe wait an hour or two. The issue that happens with the inboxes are down, and it happened again 2 years ago with Google as well. They were completely down for everything. Is what does that mean as a sender? Do I resend the emails? Do I need to change something? Do I need to change everything? Because the spam filters are updating very, very well, even though they're making a little bit of mistakes. In terms of spam filter, they're updating them very well to ensure that they're taking emails and giving them to people who want to read and receive them. So once Google was down and Microsoft was down the last couple of weeks, everybody panicked. What do? You can't just call Google. You can't call Microsoft. Your customers need your emails. Then what do you do? It's good to have a plan, to have an email marketing tool somewhere on the side, or a list of customers that might be the most important people to contact. So when things like this happen, you're not trying to just blast an email marketing campaign to everybody because you really need to sell, your product. You can maybe take a step back and just make correct decisions. When you do see these things, you're going to get really obvious bounces. If Google or Microsoft are down, or they'll let you know. But what happens when the spam folders are completely wrong? So that means that they're grouping the emails. That's where it gets a little bit more complicated, because then you have to go make go check. Is it you the issue? It usually is the sender the issue, or is it Microsoft that doesn't know where to put the email? And we all complain about Microsoft, but they're not the only ones. It's just that we're very aware of what's going on there. So when you start seeing issues with your legitimate emails going to spam, so for example, you're sending invoices, you're sending your reset passwords, and now Microsoft, Google, either they're angry at you or they're having issues. What do? So the first thing to check is all the basic stuff, your authentication, make sure nobody uploaded a list recently, that the volume hasn't doubled overnight. Nothing has changed out of the ordinary. If nothing has changed over the ordinary, the second step is to see, is there something we've been doing for a very long time that is not perfect, but can affect our reputation? Just like at the bank, if you're not paying your bills on time, it's not the end of the world if you miss a cell phone payment. But if you're missing all your bills all the time, they're going to think you're not a good person that pays their bills on time. Same thing with reputation. So if it's not something obvious, the second thing you start looking at is, hey, is it maybe something I've been doing for a very long time that wasn't too much of an issue, but now I've accumulated all the issues together? And the third thing you need to start checking, if there really isn't anything there, then you start contacting your ESP, you start contacting your deliverability specialist, and you can start contacting the inbox providers. Now, don't expect them to answer back, especially if the issue is on their end and not on yours. But it's not good enough to just try and blame it on Microsoft. We know that Microsoft has been having issues the last couple of weeks. They've been doing heavy updates or making changes, annoying for all of us, but hey, it has to happen. We can't always just blame Microsoft. So if Microsoft and Google are making changes to ensure that their recipients are going to be happy, minus the fact that there's a bit of an issue right now, we need to make sure that once those settings are implemented, and that's how Microsoft and Google is now going to be looking at everything, they're still going to be angry. So you need to change. So if you start seeing your reset passwords, your transactional emails start landing in spam, and they're starting to land spam kind of everywhere, not only Microsoft and Google, it is time to take a step back and check all those things that you were doing that looked okay, that are not good anymore. And by that, I mean, keep sending emails to people who signed up a long time ago, not having sunset policies, not having a good welcome email, not being consistent when sending emails, because this is not only a spam filter machine thing, it's a human part. Like, we keep thinking about deliverability as a machine, because at the end of the day, the spam filters are, but the machines are there to make people happy. So they're analyzing what the people are doing. So if we're seeing transactional emails that should be landing in the inbox, no matter what, starting to land in spam, not only Microsoft and Google, but all around, it is important to start taking a check and looking at your strategy very, very well, because you cannot imagine the tiniest thing that can be the biggest problem, like changing your sender name all the time, or not using the correct sender email and not being consistent. So the most important things, and we're talking about Gmail now, but we can all understand that if Gmail is doing it and it's helping the world in their inboxes, everybody else is going to try and do the same thing. They're trying to do this huge AI-based filtering overhaul. I'm not necessarily sure it's just like an AI overlay, because the last millions of years, the spam filters and the postmasters and deliverability specialists have been yelling on the roof to just authenticate the domain. SPF has been around for like 20 years. And it's only been important for the last 2 years. So all these changes that we see, it's not that they weren't important before. It's just that maybe the spam filters weren't feeling comfortable enough to make decisions completely based off of it. And now, as the years are passing, they're more and more confident. They understand what people want to receive, what people don't want to receive, what's real spam, what's real scams. So this AI-based filtering is going to be a little bit annoying, because our metrics are going to be even more skewed and so on. But it's not going to be the reason your emails aren't landing in the inbox. The reason will always be people don't want your emails, people are not engaging with emails, and all these inboxes don't want to have to save your email that you sent to your customers in 3 underground bunkers for the rest of humanity, because no one's ever going to read them, and they have to be stored in the customer's inbox. Then there's all the Gemini AI open inflation that gets in the way, which I don't worry too much about, because email marketing statistics have never, ever been very precise. And if you don't understand how they work, we're looking at a kind of a high level. So yes, some businesses are going to be impacted more, but over time, not only the spam filters are going to relax, but so will the people. When they will know how to use it, they will know what to expect from it, they will know how to trust it, and this will help balance things out with your list and understanding what's going on. So right now, it's definitely a year to be looking at all your statistics and like wondering all the time, like, oh, is a good click rate, or is it because there was this link in my email, or was this word, or did I send too many emails this week? Is that why I'm having a high click rate, or is it because actual people are trying to convert? And then the other thing that everybody panicked about, but most people didn't know, was the Google Postmaster tools. They had this like really nice graph where they can give you a color code, green, yellow, red, or dark burgundy, if you were a good sender or not. It's still there, but apparently it's going to be removed. Right now, the only things we have visibility on is how many spam complaints you're hitting. Not who, just how many. So those people accumulate over time. So you can understand that if the spam filters are updating and they're having a little bit of issues on their end, rolling this out, then there's the portion of people don't really know how to use these tools yet, or how to do it, or how to trust it. And then the engagement, right? We're going to get emails not appear chronologically if you want. And then everybody's settings is different. So we can't even create big assumptions. And we're going to get a little bit less information from Google. It wasn't that much, but it was nice to see a nice dashboard that was all green. So it is important to start using tools like the email console, to start talking to your ESPs, to ensure that everything is going correctly. And anybody here who has a team of people working for them in email, give them the time to do things. Sending more emails and just more marketing campaigns is definitely not a good time to do it this year. Now is the time to go, like we just heard from Stripo, go make sure everything is perfect, that you can grow, that you don't have to deprecate anything, because if you have no idea what's going on, you might make a lot of wrong assumptions based on numbers that look really, really good, but at the end of the day are not that great. Then, of course, your ESPs, other users are going to affect you. But this is something I'm going to like gloss over very quickly, because in my experience and the experience of other deliverability specialists, it is very rarely the ESP's fault. The ESP might be having issues. No, it happens to every tool on the planet right now. But if you're having issues forever and ever and ever, and you're doing the same thing over and over and over again, and all these inboxes still don't like you, there is so much that I can do, and there's so much an ESP can do for you. At the end of the day, they're giving you a tool with clean IPs, a clean infrastructure to allow you to send out emails. Of course, there's plenty on the market that are not that great, but now we're talking about the popular ones, the really big ones, the ones that have money behind them, specialists behind them. They're running a huge infrastructure to send out billions and millions of emails a year. They probably weren't the main reason why your email started landing in spam, right? So if you're a small sender, you can rely heavily on the reputation of an ESP to help you inbox, because the ESPs themselves have reputations. If the inboxes are happy with the type of clients that Smaley has, they're going to allow more clients to land in the inbox. Why? Because Smaley is doing the work to make sure that they're keeping good customers and closing accounts that are bad, right? So it's the same thing here. Whatever can happen when things are going bad can happen when things are going well. So we can't just start yelling and getting very angry at our ESP every time we have a dip, because it's probably not them at that time. And just for anybody who's thinking, well, I'll go get my own domains and my own infrastructure and my own IPs. Yes, it's very cool, and you can maintain your reputation where your emails are coming from an email tool. But if you don't know what else you need to do, if you think getting an IP and then that's it, then maybe it's not a good idea. You need somebody to be monitoring a lot of things in order to make this succeed. So try to work with your ESP, find one that's reputable, of course, and then just work on yourself. What you can do in marketing, what you can see in your details, from email headers to random links. Try and deep dive in all these really little things, because at the end of the day, that's what's going to help you tip a little bit more into the inbox, or not in front of people who Google might have not wanted to show you their email or show them your email, but they're like, okay, we like them. There's high engagement. Yeah, maybe this person also wants it. So that's what's going to help you tip over a little bit. Then the rule book, it changed without a memo. I write it this way because that's how people feel like it happened, but it didn't happen very, very quickly. It's been years that all these inboxes that have been asking us to make all these updates. So to confirm that we have control over the sending emails or the sender domains, to have control over the content, to understand who we are communicating with and what these people are expecting from us. At the end of the day, if we're all happy with how social media works, and I don't think it works that well. We have Instagram deciding who's going to see my pictures. I have LinkedIn deciding who's going to see my posts. With email, I get to decide. But then we have the inboxes coming in the way and say, shoot, nope, you have no control over that part. So make sure that you know who you're talking to. Make sure that you're following all the basic rules. If we still have to argue about the basic rules, you're going to have a lot more issues than, if you added a YouTube link from your mobile phone instead of the desktop. So it's extremely important to make sure that you're making your customers happy and the spam filters happy, and then figuring out how to reverse engineer that into your marketing strategy. Then there's the feedback blind spot. So this one is the part where people can get a little bit surprised. Most inboxes do not provide who's reported your email as spam. So you're going to log in your email marketing tool, and you're going to look at your list and you're like, this is great. I've got like 0.01% spam complaint in the last month. This is great. No, it's normal. Some people are going to complain. They're too lazy to unsubscribe. Don't have to worry. But if I send an email to a Gmail user or G Suite or most inboxes on the planet and they report the email as spam, this is not information that comes back to the ESP. Unless they click on unsubscribe and then there's a form and they click, I removed my email because this is spammy. There's no way to know that somebody using Gmail has reported your email as spam. So what does that mean for you? It means that over time, whenever you're looking at your Google Postmaster, you see your statistics in your email marketing about other inboxes that do actually provide this information. You're only getting a percentage based on the whole list that you sent to. But if you only have, 5 Yahoos and 1 million Gmails, you're going to see 0%, even if all the Yahoos complained. And to me, the logic is if there's a percentage of my Yahoo recipients or my Microsoft recipients or whatever other recipients I have that I can see spam complaints, then I can probably imagine that the same percentage is going to be on my wider list on my Gmails that don't provide this information. So it's extremely important to be aware, because I know that we all have a hard time trying to remove people from our lists, and remove them when they're invalid, remove them when they're valid is even harder. If we don't know who's complaining, then how do we remove them? So that's what the sunset policies are for. And it will teach the inboxes what kind of email marketing you're doing. So if the inboxes realize that after 3-4 months of somebody not engaging, you slow it down, they'll notice this. They don't need to penalize you beforehand, because they know after 2-3 months, you will remove the customer or the subscriber from your main list and give them an email a month until they die off or they come back into the main list. These patterns are things that the inboxes are going to see. Every inbox a little bit differently, but they do see it. They know how long people are reading. They know if people are actually just next, and they're not actually taking the time to open and read the email. They know all this. We don't. So we have to make assumptions based on statistics that are a little bit. So we need to understand very well how the open rates work, how the click rates work, why unsubscribes are important to have them. It's good. Let people leave your list, because we don't want the spam complaints. Because at the end of the day, I keep saying at the end of the day, there's so many ends of the days today. I'm going to say it again. At the end of the day, the spam filters are machines that are trying to make humans happy. So if we make the humans happy, that can translate back to what the inboxes are seeing about you and help boost that sender reputation. So there's a list here. There's a list on the MOG website, M3AWWG, and you write spam report or just LinkedIn me and I'll send you the link. They don't provide a lot of this information. And on top of that, some inboxes, if they don't like you as a sender, not as a person, they might just decide not to send you those spam complaints, even though they do for other customers. So it's important. And if you're asking yourself why they're doing this, well, the reason is mainly because we don't want to be cleaning our list by sending out emails. We don't want to send out to everybody and then everybody reports the email as spam, and then whoever's left are the good people. The inboxes don't want you to do things like that. Point of security is to keep it secure. So I've already talked about this. So my complaint is low, so I'm safe. Please, please, please just go in your email marketing tools and check your list. Check, what is the average amount of time people are engaging with your emails? When do people start dropping off? And you can do this by segment, like creating a segment who has an open email in 30 days, 31, 32, 33, 34. And at some point, the number is going to grow exponentially. It gives you a goal, make that smaller, make that longer, so people can stay on the list a longer amount of time. But definitely go check the people that are randomly opening but are not converting, and trying to see if any of those emails, you can maybe guess that they've complained or reported your email as spam. It's a lot of a guessing game, but when you start looking at statistics, there's a lot of patterns that are going to pick up. So if you see some spam rates, you can see what they have in common and then see, okay, well, who else is in common and not engaging? Maybe they're the same group. I've seen a lot of times where emails are coming from in terms of the form itself. Generates more spam complaints, right? You're giving a form out because there's a contest and you get a bunch of leads, put them on your main list. And then over the years, you just have them there. And you realize over time that, oh, all the ones that complained were the ones that just signed up because they wanted to win in something and nothing else. So please keep an eye out. If there's something that's going to put you in the spam box immediately, is people reporting your email as spam. And the rule is 0.1% per inbox. So it's not 0.1% of your list. It's how many emails you sent to Google and how many complain from Google, and how many they sent to Microsoft and how many they complain. So you're going to have to manage your reputation with each and every single one of them, on top of making sure that you're making money and that you're not spending all your time doing what I do, which is analyze and try to figure stuff out for no reason. And then, of course, it's extremely important to understand that, yes, the people on your list, but a huge amount, this to me, 22%, and it's sometimes higher, of your list is deprecated by the end of the year. Now, of course, this is an average over different industries, but your list is your biggest snitch. I know customers that have spam complaints that you wouldn't believe, but their engagement is so amazing. Their list validation, the strategy is so great that they're still inboxing. So if you're emailing people that don't know who you are, then you're emailing people who are complaining about you. You're emailing people who don't care about your content, and then you're emailing a portion of the list and they don't even exist. There's too many things that the inboxes think you have control over. So that YouTube link can be an issue that is happening right now, because right now somebody's using it very, very hard and they're like scamming people and they're creating issues. Fine, phishing is phishing. But if there's something that's going to really make sure that all of your emails on in spam box, is going to be who you're emailing. And that's like faceted in different ways. So like we said, how long have they been on your list? What do they care about? What did they sign up for initially? Audiences change. My business has, the way I market my business and the type of clients I work with are always going to be different. So the type of messaging I had a couple of years ago is going to be completely irrelevant to the people who signed up recently. What do I do as a business? Do I separate it? Do I just get rid of a portion of my list? Do I try to re-educate people in my list? Because at the end of the day, that YouTube link is not going to be the reason you have sender reputation issues and you're losing money with email. It's going to be sending to people that don't exist and who don't want your emails or don't remember who you are and that are complaining. That's the number one thing. So if opens are being counted in so many different ways from different inboxes, what do you do? What do you look at? So opens have never been good because of the devices. There's no norm, unfortunately. It's not like HTML where there's some people that got in a room together and said, this is it and this is all we're doing. We've been trying to get in a room and get these things implemented, but it connects to too many entities that we don't have control over as email or deliverability or postmasters. So one of the things we worried about a couple of years ago is when Apple went and shout out on their, I don't know what they were promoting, their MacBook or something, the mobile phone, that email tracking was going to be an issue. Everybody panicked, but they panicked because Apple went out to the world and said, hey, there's an issue. There's going to be an issue with open rates for email marketers and senders. This has been happening for years. Gmail was one of the first ones to do it. Computers can do things a lot more quickly now, so we can check more things. We can check the HTML, the fingerprinting, which is a good word to keep on the side right now. It's very important to understand that the open rates are going to be different per inbox. So what does that mean? Take your list, cut it into pieces. Take your iCloud users together, your Apple users together. Take your Google and your Google Suite. Take your Microsoft Outlook, Hotmail, all those together. Microsoft Office on its own. And then analyze over time the open rates of each inbox. That's important. Now, you might have a million of them. You might not care about Orange in France if you got 2 guys from France on your list, but the main ones. That's going to give you already an idea of what's going on over time. Ensure that your open rates don't spike for no absolute reason. I mean, maybe during the holidays, or if you got like a kick-ass promotion, it might spike a little bit, but you want to see those numbers separately. One, because it'll help you analyze how the inboxes are evolving, because inboxes evolve. So what was working 6 months ago might not work or work the same way. So it allows you to see certain trends. And as long as you have your checklist and you've done everything correctly, you're sending emails to people who want them, you've got consent, your forms are protected, you're not, no one's phishing or scamming, then you'll get an idea. Now, the one that we need to analyze, all of us together, is what's going on with the Gmail and the AI analyzer at the top. Is that's going to be prefetched. Does that count as an open? Like as a sender, would I think that's considered an open? Maybe yes, maybe no. That's a food for thought for all of us. But these Gmail AI scans, I wouldn't panic too much about them because the numbers at some point will normalize. And as long as we're in that normalized manner, we'll be fine. And if a real person is actually reading your emails, there's a couple of ways to check, if it's like very quickly, the email's been opened before it's been received, your email marketing tool might possibly tell you it's a bot. If it's being pinged too many times from locations we know or spam filters and so on, then those can be removed as well. But the most logical thing is to look at it like holistically. Who's on your list? Where did they sign up? Why are they on your list? What are you sending them? Why are you sending it to them? And how does that look over time? It's hard to check any statistics in general, even if they were precise, if we're kind of shooting out emails with no goals. If I ask you today, you sent out an email, your campaign, what was it for? And everybody's like, well, to remind people we have products. It's not enough. And that's where the AI stuff and the spam filters are going to start getting in the way, not necessarily because of that weird little link thing or a header issue. It's going to be an amalgamation of just, did the sender use basic logic in order to send emails to people who want them? It's not that crazy. I know it's a lot more, deliverability is a lot more complex than that. But if you're doing everything fine, then I would love for you to call me because YouTube links are having issues and not because, hey, you haven't removed anybody from your list. You don't know how to read your open rates correctly. There's no UTM links in your clicks to see what people are doing on the website. You might be sending, people are clicking, but you're sending them to the wrong place. They might have preferred something else. Having an understanding of what people are doing is enough. I don't think any business is happy just having likes on their Instagram or their LinkedIn posts. Why would we accept that in email? We want people to do something. In most cases, I know some emails are informational, but most cases we want to sell something. So it's extremely important to understand your own audience because the AI scraper for my audience will not scrape things the same or open it the same as you. So please keep an eye on that. And your email marketer needs a raise this year because they're going to be wearing multiple hats, trying to figure out what's going on. Because if Gmail and Microsoft don't know what's going on, imagine all of us. Make sure that you at least understand who's on your list right now, because it's going to be harder and harder to tell over time. And we've got other things to do as a business, right? We can't just be looking at email because it's cool. I can because it's my job, but you guys have other things to do as well. So yes. So the other thing that's been an issue for a very long time, but it's still something that people are not really thinking about is that yes, emails are delivered, but delivered does not mean inboxed. And right now we're having a couple of new levels being added to the not received. So if you're not a very good sender, it goes to spam, right? We're not really sure, you're having issues. It's to help protect the recipient and it's to help protect the sender. Like, I know we all don't like spam house blocking your domain, but I am very happy when they block my domain because somebody abused a form on a website page I couldn't haven't opened in 10 million years. It was good. It protected me. I went, closed the form, cleaned my list, went back to normal, spam house resolved, right? So now we're having the AI thing. So with like flights, I don't need to maybe open the email and get my flight details because I can just see the overview. I don't need to open the email to see if the promotion's good enough. I'm seeing in the overview. Now, how are we going to measure this? Is it good for a business? Is it not good? Is it an issue? I don't know. It always going to, we don't know yet. But what we've learned from the past is that these issues tend to happen at the beginning while the changes are happening, and then people learn how to use them. The inboxes learn how people want to use them, and then they create the product the way it's supposed to be. Just like with the promotions folder, we all got very annoyed that the promotions went to promotions. But if you're promoting your business, you're promoting your product, you're promoting something that isn't, hey, Tanel can give me, the time for my talk today, that's a reply that goes in the inbox. Everything else goes to notifications, goes to promotions. And that made people panic. Even people that were receiving emails, they didn't like it. But then people started using it. And now we can see, go do a deep research. Is it true that... is any of this true? Yes, it's absolutely true. Emails that go to promotions, people put their hat on and they're like, time to buy something. I'm bored. Let me go check. And they're more likely to buy something if it's in the promotions tab. Now with the AI, we'll have to add that layer on top. So it'll be a little bit funky the whole year. But trust me, if you're sending emails to people who want them, you're totally fine. That's it. Send them to people who want them. Now, the key metrics are slowly going away, which is a little bit disappointing. I keep name dropping Email Console. They're a very great team. You need to start monitoring your deliverability for free with Google Postmaster, SNDS. Even though the tools seem to not give you that much data, you can reverse engineer quite a lot from, oh, we have a high spike of spam rates today. What happened? We sent an email that day. What happened to the email? Who did we send it to? Did we use the wrong list? It's always the same questions. So yes, we might seem to have less information, but any bit of information is important. So you have your Google Postmasters, you got your SNDS, you've got your ESP who's doing the same thing for the IPs if you're not using dedicated IPs. Then you've got deliverability monitoring tools that are going to help you inbox placement tests. Check all these links in the email. Tell you some spam filters, like business spam filters, they're a little bit point-based system. A little bit, that's not English. It's a point-based system, how the spam filters work. So it's easy for us to, easy for these tools to give you like a rundown and say, hey, your signature is too heavy, your emails are too heavy, your images, HTML is broken, it's not accessible, which also is an important thing. If you're, dark gray on a black background, it will be a tick off. So if everybody is removing the data to make it even harder for all of us to figure out if we're doing okay or not, then we just need to start now. Now that you have the data, like start it today, because none of these businesses are going to give you data from the past. If you set it up today, they're giving you your credit score or your sender score from today on. So definitely try and get as much data so that for the next couple of months, maybe even a year, as everybody's figuring out what Google's doing and Microsoft is figuring out what they're doing, we'll be able to actually have new baselines, because now all our baselines are going to go kaput. Some people it's going to be okay. Some people, they're not going to see any changes at all. But some people are definitely going to. And the people that definitely are going to see this are the people who send a lot, not because they're bad senders, but you can imagine I have a lot of random facts I can send to people about deliverability, but no one cares enough to read them every day. It doesn't matter how entertaining or funny I try to make them. No one's going to read 365 emails a year. So when Google sees I sent 365 emails a year and some guy opened, 5, 10, 20, how many can somebody open? It just looks bad on my end. So I'll get docked for low engagement, even though people might be paying me for my newsletter, right? So now we have to start thinking about the business, how this is going to translate into email. And in my opinion, it's just going to mean we're going to send a little bit less, more targeted. That's it. And that's all. I don't think it's going to be oh my god, email doesn't work, we're not making money anymore. It's only going to be okay, if they're blocking the people who don't want the email, like what's the point of sending to those people anyways? Let's just figure out who wants my stuff and I'll send emails to them. So the important part is reading your data. That is what I'm going to leave you today. So if we understand that open rates are inflated, that the delivered count is not the same as the ones that actually landed in the inbox, that our list size really, really matters in terms of quality and in terms of like abundance. So what's the point? If you don't have any goals, we're going to have a lot of issues, because all of these things, as important as they always were important, they just become a little bit more important now, because the spam filters can make a true decision based on all these things. So if the inboxes can decide and be confident in their own ability to sort emails, then we're going to have an issue, because that's what we've been doing all these years. We've been sending our 10,000 emails or 50,000 emails or 1 million emails once a week, twice a week. And we've kind of just waited for Google and Microsoft and all these inboxes to decide who to get it. Now they're saying, no, you decide, or else everybody gets impacted. It doesn't matter if you're a great sender. I don't care if there's 3 people on your list who care. I don't care if you're a legitimate business. Being a legitimate business doesn't mean you're not an annoying marketer. But as long as you got your authentication set up, that you know how to read your email headers, that when people are complaining about emails not being received, that you actually take the time to check what's going on, you're going to fly. And the best and most important thing to do is have a real strategy. If you're trying to, people like to, when I explain to them what I do as a job, they're like, oh, you're the reason emails don't go to spam. You're the one spamming me. I was like, I don't specifically spam you. The senders do. So now Google's trying to stop this. I mean, I don't know how many times I can possibly say this. The inboxes are just tired of storing these emails everywhere. So we're definitely going to ensure that you guys are all ready. And that's it for today. I think I saw some questions in the chat, and I have a couple of interesting things that you guys might want to read. I put it on this. I'm going to send it to Smaley so you guys can send it over, because there's a lot that that's just not interesting to talk about like that.
Actually, it is really interesting.
Yeah, we can listen it like 30 minutes more, but
maybe for us,
Oh,
this
yeah,
is
but you
the
know
question
me.
of criticism, but it's really interesting. But if you would be so kind, there are some questions in the chat.
Yes.
We will take on the stage the next presenter now. But thank you, Yanna. Really,
course.
we will send your slides afterwards to the listeners also, so they can read the last slides by themselves. And if they have any questions, they contact you directly.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, anything.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Have a